I've always been a runner, but I've never run from anything, and neither has my city.
Do you want to be a Detroit police officer?
Sir, yes, sir! Up!
Amen!
It's something special to protect the people closest to you, the ones you've known all your life, your neighbors, your friends. I was born in this city, and I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. That's why I wear the shield.
Attention all families, kids, adults. It's live professional wrestling at the Booker-Dozer Recreation Center in Inkster, Michigan. Tickets as low as $5. Attention, tickets as low as $5. Kids get in as $5, adults $10. It's live professional wrestling at the Booker-Dozer Recreation Center, April 19th. That's a Sunday. I got my tickets, you get yours.
Hi, excuse me, do you have anything for paint?
Straight down that aisle.
All right, thank you.
Young lady, this here's what you need.
Ringmaster?
Ringmaster rubbing oil.
How does it work?
By promoting circulation since 1950. Massage it in for best results.
Ringmaster took care of my back pain.
Ringmaster got rid of my knee pain, too.
Wow, it sounds like I'm late to the party. I'll take one.
Find Ringmaster at CVS, Davis Drugs, and other fine stores.
Hi, this is Theo Broughton, and I want you to know that the Daybo Sheffield Center is the happiest, healthiest, and most supportive center in our community. But I also need you to know that the happiest day is the second Saturday of every month when Hood Research meets at the Daybo Sheffield Center, 12048 Grand River on the corner of Wyoming. Our meeting begins at 2 p.m. This center is where you meet all of the important people. Join us at 2 p.m. on the second Saturday. See you there.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinga.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. Feedback. Yes, we're all the way live right here. WHBR, WHPS, 160 Victor Street. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And for those of you who are working from home, I hope that it will be a productive day for you. And, of course, it will be a safer day for you, not being in the crowds on the job, etc. But we at WHBR are here to share with you information, to talk to you, to take calls in if you wish to call in. 868-4336, that's area code 313-868-4336. There's a lot of information going around. There's a lot of hysteria going around, a lot of concern going around, and we do need concern. We don't need hysteria. We do need concern. We need people to be cautious and to, as is being reported over and over again, wash your hands. Have hand sanitizer with you. If you can't have soap and water with you at least, be sure to do that. And to avoid crowds, big crowds. I want you to know that Hood Research enjoyed this past Saturday with those of you who came out to our meeting at Daybo. It was a comfortable crowd, and we enjoyed the conversation and information that was shared, information about employment, etc. That's something that you have to be concerned with because we are praying and hearing that the coronavirus won't be with us forever in the degree or to the degree that it is with us at this time. And for those of you who have not heard, on the back of the Lysol bottle, Lysol's been around for decades, it talks about the coronavirus on the back of the Lysol bottle. We thought that was kind of interesting. And when you see something like that, it makes you think about germ warfare. But before we start talking about germ warfare, I want to thank you all for tuning in to Hood Research, and to know that Hood Research has a website, telephone number, which is area code 248-234-2371. That's 248-234-2371. And follow us on Twitter. We have a website, Twitter, all of the bells and whistles. And I want to say good morning to Rosa. Good morning to Barbara. Get well soon. Good morning to Vera and Ron. Good morning to Katrina and Henry. And to Al and Don and Rochelle and Michelle and Bill and to so many of you. And thank you so much. And Carol and Gloria. Anyway, to Calvin, to Jay way on the east side, and who we got way on the west side, Harry? Les. All right. Les Little way on the west side. Who you want to say good morning to?
Shout outs to Brother Rodney. He listens all the time, calls in sometime, but more of a listener. Sister Andrea, she's a listener who just loves collecting information, along with Sisters Ruth Ann, Cheryl D, Jackie, both Jackies, Brother Shane and his brother Fred, and then the other Fred. And I want to say that have your friends, family, neighbors, co-workers, and acquaintances to tune in, and also have them have pen and paper handy for information you may want to record. And the numbers will be at the bottom of the screen if you want to enjoy us in conversation.
Well, I got to say good morning to Gladys and Lawrence and Biddy. And, you know, there are opportunities when you join Hood Research and attend our meetings to network. And Robert was there this past Saturday, and we had the African Easy Silk products as well. And I purchased them myself. And, you know, it's good to let everybody know that we appreciate them. And good morning to Ken and Sylvia, you know, and to invite them to attend our meetings and the various events that we have. We are planning some events for this summer to have a Black History Tour in the city of Detroit, and to talk about some of the other things that we want to do, and perhaps a luncheon to acknowledge members of our community. But you know, getting back to this germ warfare, we hear that the earth has too many people. Well, who says this earth has too many people? And who are you to decide that this earth has too many people? You know, I think about the size of China and the size of the United States of America. And if you check the size of those two countries, you will find that the United States, if you separate, say, maybe Rhode Island, they're the same size, you know. And China, we're told, has 2 billion people, while America only has about 350 million. Canada is larger than the United States, and it only has 40 million people. Go figure, you know. But yet, we're told there are just too many people. Well, I beg to differ. You're not creating those people, so I think they just need to sit down and shut up.
It was mentioned over the weekend that Bill Gates is stepping down from being a key component of Microsoft to focus on his philanthropy. And part of what he's suggesting also is that the population on the African continent needs to be controlled, basically. As you say, who's to say what's too much and not too much? But yeah, his position is that there are too many people on the African continent who are not, two things, contributing to, because they're in impoverished conditions, they're not of benefit to the general continent and whatever respective country they're in. I believe Nigeria and I'm not sure, I believe Ghana was the other two that were mentioned. But it's not the first time we've heard about them trying to control the population of Africa. Approximately 6 years ago, I read an article in a Smithsonian magazine that said that if they don't do something soon, that the population of the African continent would exceed 1 billion. Now, we already know that India and China have a billion plus people in their population. So their whole position is that the resources on the planet won't be enough to sustain the growth of any population. But one of the problems that we have is that the European culture or Europeans in general have a zero population growth. So there's a fear that's inherent in what they're saying. It has nothing to do with resources. It's their fear of, as Francis Cress Welsing, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing said, genetic annihilation. And we do have a caller also.
And you know, Bill Gates and Linda Gates, his wife, we were told Saturday that they have a patent on the virus. So, if that's the case, and he's concerned about population control, why would he be concerned about Africa? Africa has more resources than anywhere else on the planet. Okay, who's on the phone?
Hello, caller.
I tell you.
Welcome to the program. Would you give us your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Flat So Flat Goes.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. I just chimed in. I just turned you guys on, so I heard a little bit. But it all seems like the dots are connecting with population control's MO. We know that historically, history repeats on how they try to wipe out populations of people. And so they bring these viruses on. They have these biochemistry war labs that's stationed in everybody's country. And when somebody decides to leak, I don't think the outbreaks are a mistake at all.
I don't think it's a mistake either. The more I hear about it, the more I believe it has to do with population control. Killing off as many people.
Population control's MO.
Right.
Also, I think I just read something about Gates also coming up with a so-called vaccination. They've always been vaccinating people. I would question how they come up with solutions when they, to me, part of the problem.
Right,
which is what Ron March told us long time ago, the cause and effect for profit. But we still don't know if these vaccinations are safe or not, because these people are the ones that's causing this.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. And they want to do so many monumental things. Like in South America, the Amazon River, somebody was saying they want to straighten it. Well, why do you want to straighten it? Leave the Amazon River alone.
I will add this.
And they also want to send people to the moon and make money on sending you to the moon.
Oh,
That's going to cost a lot of money. Oh, they're going to destroy the earth so they can run to the moon and destroy that too, huh?
You know, it's interesting.
It's like madness.
Yes.
It's interesting because most indigenous cultures all learned how to live with nature, European culture has always tried to find a way to get nature out of the way so they could make progress. So therefore, forests were destroyed, rivers were destroyed, whether we look at industrial waste, chemicals, everything was done in the interest of so-called progress and profit, yes. So, but any other culture, and it's one thing I found interesting too, when you look at Native Americans, Africans, people who were in other parts of the world, all found a way to cohabit with nature without and making nature work for them. Basically, Europeans, not all, but many who were, especially were progressive and industrialists and capitalists, thought that these things are in the way, not knowing what the ramifications would be once they did this damage. We lose the oxygen going into the atmosphere for us to be able to breathe. We destroy the ozone, but none of that's ever a concern when it comes down to dollars and cents.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
It's all about the almighty dollar. They will destroy us all and themselves for this so-called profit, because you know GOD is their gold and oil and drugs and other industry. That's what GOD means to them. But it's just so sad, because now, you know, you're messing with people and you're causing more mental health issues, because now this is more things that people have to worry about. I'm concerned about how our homeless are going to live and if they're going to be able to get to the soup kitchens and eat, because they now saying 50 people or more. Is,
can't come together.
Be a recipe for disaster.
Yeah,
that's a mess.
Right. Okay. Well, if you have something else, call back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
Hey, this is Kurt, man. I'm looking at you on channel 33.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Thanks for calling. Go ahead. Hello?
Oh, okay. I wanted to ask you guys, what do you think the chances of that virus being on money? If it's on money, my goodness, we all in trouble, aren't we?
What do we think the chances of what?
The virus being on money, dollars, coins.
The fact that a virus might be on dollar bills, coins, and that thing, and we all exchange money with each other.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, it's possible. I hear that the virus can live on, plastic and glass. They did not mention the fiber that money is made out of. You can always wash it, though. Have you ever had any money end up in the washing machine by accident?
Yes, I did, and the dollar bills did come out whole.
Yeah. So if you are concerned about that, or you know some others who are concerned about that, tell them to wash it. You know?
I agree with the last caller. I think this virus is deliberate. I think that AIDS and HIV
deliberate.
You know, when you read about these things in the past, they would have written about it a long time ago if these viruses were around. These viruses were not around, you know. So I believe that they deliberately put this out here.
I agree with you. I believe that also. And if you go on the internet, now at our meeting Saturday, this speaker was telling us that Bill and Melinda Gates own a patent on the coronavirus.
Oh, one more thing. I'm glad you mentioned that. Did you hear that Bill Gates planned on shipping gigantic mirrors out into space to reflect the sun back out into space? And I was wondering, how does that going to affect our crops? I mean, you're going to dictate who can grow food and who can't grow food. You need the sun to grow food. This guy is unbelievable.
Wait a minute now. He's going to put gigantic mirrors over farmland or somewhere?
University, but I believe it's Howard University. And they doing a program to see if they can do that. You know, I know they opened that ozone layer, and they lied to us constantly.
Why? Wait a minute. Why is he dabbling in Howard University? The Howard University?
And I think it's Howard University, if I'm not mistaken. They doing a program right now to test to see if that is possible. If you don't believe me, go on the internet. You know, I've been saw it. You know, but I didn't know if anybody else heard that.
Oh no, I had not heard that. But again, that sounds more like population control. Now we know that the government pays farmers not to grow food. And
so I think what the problem is that a lot of Europeans are having problems with the sun. I know it's a lot of them having general problems, and I believe what has happened here is that ozone layer, when they open that ozone layer wider, that was our protection from
the radiation from the sun, UV rays.
You know, so now they're being directly exposed to it without that protection of the ozone layer. So I think that's one of the things that why they're dealing with this. But to reflect the sun back out into space, my goodness.
That's crazy.
Thanks for taking my call, guys.
And don't know what kind of explosions.
Thank you, brother.
Thanks for calling. What kind of explosions could happen?
You know, that makes sense, though, when we look at what I was saying earlier about Dr. Francis Cress Welsing and the whole genetic annihilation thing.
Yeah.
And then and I've thought about this myself as well. I'm glad the brother brought it up, that when you're trying to save, which is why a lot of the Nazis and other right, let's say radical hate groups are around, one of the things they do is they're concerned too about losing in terms of just look at America in general, how the browning of America, as they say, they're concerned about their own genetic ability to exist on this planet. So for Bill Gates to even ponder the idea, not knowing whether it's feasible or not, to ponder the idea of reflecting the sun back out in space, which if they were clear-minded and thoughtful, they would just say, well, let's stop doing the things that destroy the ozone. You don't have to reflect the light back in space. Just stop all the emissions from fossil fuels, etc. You know, minimize those, and then you can, because the Earth knows how to heal itself, but man continues to destroy it.
Right.
But I gotta say one thing now. When you were talking about washing your money, you know that kind of thing. Yeah. Now, is that another way of saying money laundering? Anyway, as
I like that.
As many of you know,
money laundering. Okay.
Now, I just want to let everyone know we're expecting a guest, but this is Women's Month as well as Reading Month, and certainly reading is critical. Now, I want to share with everyone, she recently passed away, but she made a name for herself. She was considered the Black Gypsy Rose Lee. Many of you know her as Lottie the Body. She was born in 1930 in South Carolina. She studied classical dance and music. She toured with the B.B. King Revue. She started dancing with the Alan White Dancers, but she was the lead dancer. Her styles included soca, chi-chi, calypso, and other Cuban styles. She was married to one of the Harlem Globetrotters at one time. His name was Goose Tatum. Yes, she was married to him for 6 years.
Wow.
She later married Oscar Graves of Detroit, who ran a high-end clothing store. He was a salesman there, and she said he was the most handsomest man in the world. She met him, and she said his brother wasn't too far behind in terms of handsome, too. I thought that was interesting. So that's what caused her to move to Detroit. Wow. She was the host at 20 Grand, so during the heyday of Motown, especially when in its inception and beginning, she was one who would introduce the different acts, Miracles, Supremes, all of the earlier acts of Motown. Wow. And many of you do know about the 20 grand. I think I got in there. I came in on the tail end of it, but I did get over there. It wasn't that far from my house. She, again, introduced that. She also worked with Bomax Bar. Now, many of you might know Bomax, too. She was a host over there. And I got a chance to go over there as well because Harold McKinney, a lot of Detroit greats were at Bomax.
Right.
So she was there. So she just recently passed away. She also was at the Showtime Bar as well. Now, I've heard about it, but I just didn't know about it.
I didn't go there, but I went to this other place called the Blue Chip 2. It was two of them, Blue Chip and Blue Chip 2. I think it was a Blue Chip 2, and she decorated the room. It was beautiful, done in blue, with shades of blue, and they had suede bar stools, and the bar itself was lined around with suede blue shag carpeting, and the seating in there. She had a talent for decorating, you know.
Quite a lady, and quite a personage to have been part of Detroit and Women's History Month. And we do have a caller.
Yeah.
Hello, caller. You're on the air. Would you share your name and how you're viewing us, please?
It's Slago, calling back to give you some more information. It says from the New York Post, the coronavirus vaccine could be ready by April, Chinese official says. Now, I don't know if people understand. Now they're saying they knew about the outbreak in China as far as November. I listened to scientist Francis Boyle, and he was saying that it's been out since December the 1st. And the CDC, United States, they all knew about it in 2019. So that's just good. And now I'm finding out that Trump, with his firing, you know, what's that show he liked to fire people. He has gotten rid of key people that deals with the health statistics, the surveillance, the information, you know, that's needed, and public health preparedness. All these people have been fired. So we don't know who's in control no more with that type of business to make sure that we're prepared for such an epidemic.
He shut down the office that was in the White House that was set up by Barack Obama, previous president, to deal with pandemics, epidemics, etc. He just shut down the whole office, got rid of it.
He wiped them out. And also we're dealing with price gouging. I have a hotline for those who want to report those that are price gouging out there. It's ridiculous, $10 for everything, including bleach. The price gouging number hotline is 877-765-8388.
Okay, say that again. For price gouging reporting. Anybody's price gouging, report this too. Telephone number is
877-765-8388.
765-8388.
765-8388, yes.
Yeah.
Also, the water, those who need their water turned back on need to call and see if they qualify for the $25 payment plans. The water, that number to get your water turned on is 313-386-9727.
386-9727, okay.
386-9727. That's the Wayne Metro number. Detroit supposedly is sitting on $2.5 million to help implement and help people qualify. And remember that the state will have emergency funds to help you get that first $25 payment for your water.
So anybody who is without water in the home can call that number, 386, what else?
9727.
Okay, and it's a 313 number?
Yes, it is. It's a Wayne Metro number. Flint has been without clean water since 2014, but I guess that's not that's not a what they call an epidemic. It's not a crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So and that's crazy because once again they pick and choose what a crisis is when it affects everybody. Then all of a sudden
it's a crisis.
Bothers or affects a certain group of people. It's gone under the radar.
Right. Now, do you know if that will help anybody in Flint? Is Wayne Metro available to the residents of Flint?
No, this is for Detroit.
Just Detroit?
The ones that's been shut off, yeah.
I see.
But hopefully, maybe if they call that number and find out if there's any, resources to help Flint. But that water is still not clean since 2014.
Right.
They're without clean water. And then when you think about it, how long have these people's water been turned off? Even if you turn it on, is it safe?
Well, some minor plumbing repairs, I'm told, will be handled. But I don't know what they consider mild plumbing repairs. Maybe a washer in the faucet. Anyway,
right, we need
everybody.
Watchdogs because the funding that we get and resources get disappear very fast.
Yes.
In order, you know what I'm saying? So
I do.
Even with the census, we need watchdogs. Where is the money?
Right,
Said it's coming. So,
oh, wow.
Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, but thank you for those numbers.
Right.
Okay. We are going to take a break because our guest has arrived. And stay tuned. All others, tell them tune in to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research, and we will be back momentarily.
Hi, excuse me. Do you have anything for paint?
Straight down that aisle.
All right. Thank you.
Young lady, this here is what you need.
Ringmaster?
Ringmaster rubbing oil.
How does it work?
By promoting circulation since 1950. Massage it in for best results.
Ringmaster took care of my back pain.
Ringmaster got rid of my knee pain, too.
Wow. It sounds like I'm late to the party. I'll take one.
Find Ringmaster at CVS, Davis Drugs, and other fine stores.
I've always been a runner, but I've never run from anything, and neither has my city.
Do you want to be a Detroit police officer?
Sir, yes, sir! Up! Amen!
It's something special to protect the people closest to you, the ones you've known all your life, your neighbors, your friends. I was born in this city, and I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. That's why I wear the shield.
Attention all families, kids, adults. It's live professional wrestling at the Bucadoza Recreation Center in Inkster, Michigan. Tickets as low as $5. Attention, tickets as low as $5. Kids get in as $5, adults $10. It's live professional wrestling at the Bucadoza Recreation Center, April 19th. That's a Sunday. I got my tickets, you get yours.
Hi, this is Theo Broughton, and I want you to know that the Dabo Sheffield Center is the happiest, healthiest, and most supportive center in our community. But I also need you to know that the happiest day is the second Saturday of every month when Hood Research meets at the Dabo Sheffield Center, 12048 Grand River on the corner of Wyoming. Our meeting begins at 2 p.m. This center is where you meet all of the important people. Join us at 2 p.m. on the second Saturday. See you there.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinda.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV. Watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. Feedback, feedback, feedback. And we are back with our guest this morning, Stephanie Shannon. She's come a long way just to be here with us.
It's an honor to be here.
Oh, thank you so much for coming. And you are a veteran.
Yes, I am.
And an author. And you have also started a nonprofit.
That's correct.
But first, tell us, who is Stephanie Shannon?
Stephanie Shannon is the founder and CEO of Michigan Women Veterans Empowerment. It's a nonprofit organization that I started as a woman veteran. I had a struggle with living 20 years undiagnosed with PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder caused by military sexual trauma. 1 in 3 women are sexually assaulted in the military.
1 in 3?
Yes, and 50% of the victims are men. And the Gulf War illness. I'm a Gulf War veteran, Desert Storm veteran, and I struggled with my transition. There was nothing available for veterans, women veterans. We make up 1% of the nation's population, almost. And we also are 10% of the veteran population, but in Michigan, we're only 47,000 of us. So it's about nationwide, about 2 million women veterans.
Wow. Wait a minute. Did you say that women in the United States only 1% of the population?
Yes, 1%, less than 1%.
Of the whole population in the United States?
Yes.
Just women, not veterans, just women.
Women veterans.
Women veterans. Oh, women veterans.
That's correct.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, okay. Oh, okay. I was going to say, wait a minute. Wow. Now, back up. You said that 1
out of 3.
1 out of 3? No, 3
women are 1 in 3 women and that serve in the military, branches of the military, are sexually assaulted.
Okay.
We have an epidemic called military sexual trauma.
Military sexual trauma. And then you said men are
Yes.
sexually
assaulted. 50% of the victims are males.
50% of the men in the military are assaulted. Oh, my God.
50% of the sexual assault victims. So when you talk about military sexual trauma, it comes from unwanted, unsolicited sexual attention, favors, catcalls, wanting favors for sex, or if not fully raped or sexually assaulted, inappropriate touching. So it's a gray area.
Wow.
The sexual assault issue has been an epidemic for years. And it's just recently coming out because of the media, because of social media, and because of our voice that people are becoming more aware of that. So it's definitely an epidemic in the military. It continues to be a crisis because the system of reporting is the issue.
So if you report it, then you get a lash back or
I would say that. Well, that's what I experienced
something.
in my service. I had one friend that was fully, she was raped, sexually assaulted. I was sexually harassed, bullied, threatened, Article 15 by my leaders, and when I served in Desert Storm, but there was no system of reporting.
Oh.
Where it could say, because in the military you have a chain of command. You can't jump the chain of command. Like out here, if you experience something at work, you can go get your attorney and fight. You can't do that in the military. You have to report it to the person that is the next level above you. And that could have been the one that sexually assaulted you.
Oh, wow.
So the system, they have a major crisis going on in the military. The Military Justice Improvement Act is something that they've been trying to push, but it's a challenge getting things in place.
It's just in committee somewhere, and they don't want to deal with it?
Well, it's just Senator Kristen Gillibrand out of New York has been the first one. She kind of championed it. A movie came out called The Invisible War. It came out in 2012. It was a documentary.
Oh, okay.
And it talks about the sexual assault issue. And they wanted to take the judicial part out of the hands of the commanders and put it into private military, civilian
like we have, we have here police commissioners.
Yes.
And they have the oversight of the police department.
Correct.
Okay, so you're saying that there is a desire to have like a civilian oversight committee
Yes. Well, because what happens is that when you have the chain of command and they block you, and when they do, say for instance, someone does sexually assault you and you go to court, only 2% are prosecuted.
Oh, wow.
Rest of them are sent to other units, or even some people, like say for instance, you speak up, you put out of the military.
Now that was going on in the church, in the Catholic Church.
Yes.
Remember, they would move them to another parish if they had sexually assaulted one of the church members or children.
You know, it seems unfortunate because when I think about other institutions, let's say police departments, certain ones, it's like a fraternal organization. So they tend to protect whomever, and rather than them being disciplined, they allow them, as you say, to move about some kind of way and hope that maybe that egregious behavior doesn't continue, but that's not the way to correct it.
Correct.
And since it's all in-house, that's I'm troubled by that too, because it's like asking a poodle not to say anything about the chihuahua because he assaulted the cat. You know, you just can't ask those who are in common to have common interests to police themselves. I don't see that happening. And now they have something, and I don't really know much about the military, but it's JAG. What's that? Something judicial ag. There was a show about it, but it's JAG, and I think it has something to do with an organization within the armed services, judge advocate something or other. Are you familiar with that first?
Well, if it is, it's something new.
Okay.
Because you're talking about the AG or your attorney attorney general, or your JAG officer, which is your attorney.
Yeah, that's
you could go, say for instance, well, what happened to me, I was in Desert Storm. That was the first war where they had the most women. First war that they had the first woman POW, prisoner of war. It was the largest deployment of say, you got the Guard, you got the reserves and whatnot, of all the wars we've had. It's been the first televised war. So some things were just not in place. So the AG is not like you're out in the desert. I was a 14-ton tractor trailer driver, driving all around, hauling Patriots, ammo, missiles. You didn't know who to go to report it to. Who is the proper authorities to report it to? And then the retaliation rate. 70% of us do not report. I didn't report my situation. I just endured it. Because of retaliation, because they'll demote you, because of the belittlement, or you'll be accused of what did you do in part of it. So definitely there's a legal problem there, and the military is definitely separate. It's a closed institution, like you said. You can't get in, you got to join in, and it's a closed, a gray system. So say, for instance, you're coming in for justice, you're speaking up for yourself, but if someone particularly doesn't like you or whatever, you can be blackballed and put out of the system and get a dishonorable discharge and didn't do anything.
Oh, wow.
Yes, a lot of injustice going on.
I see. Now, there's something that came up. It seems to me that these are feeder groups, Boy Scouts. What, last year or a year and a half ago, there was some issue about Boy Scouts being molested. Now, from the Boy Scouts, I had heard once that from being there, they would want to go into the military. Or National Guard or state troopers or police department or something. And for that to come up, that they have had a number of complaints, and it was shut down real fast. They had it reported in the media, and the next thing you know, you didn't hear anything about it.
No, I didn't catch that, but again, you know, unfortunately, we're in a patriarchal society that tends to favor men and tend to protect men no matter what their violations are. You know, and I'm one who's staunchly against that, because as far as I'm concerned, it diminishes the way I look as a man, because then we become typecast or stereotyped as you have to beware of all men. And I think it's unfortunate that women have to endure the pressures of bearing, like you say, you bore the weight of this indignity, but you know, because you're still trying to maintain your dignity and want to be a part of the military, you know, you silence yourself. And I think a lot of us do that, you know, regardless of whatever the atmosphere is. But it's unfortunate because the military at this point is your career.
Yes.
So the last thing you want to do is, as you say, you're discharged dishonorably, haven't done anything, you can't defend yourself, there's nobody who's going to stand up for you. Are there within, would you say, the ranks of women who are in, let's say, like you said, Desert Storm, and I know this was like, what, the early 90s? I believe it was.
Yes.
'Cause I had a buddy of mine that was in there also. Is there something like maybe women do themselves within the military to console each other or whatever?
Well, it's really not a womanhood. We're a family.
Okay.
So, it's kind of like male and females were grouped together, we trained together, we served together. And then recently in 2016, they opened up all jobs to all of the branches in the military as far as in combat. I personally wouldn't want to be an infantryman, but they allow women to serve in very harsh conditions, like as a Navy SEALs, to do work that normally was just set apart from men. So there's no sisterhood in the military. So that's a challenge I had when I got out here, was there was no place for us. We didn't have a women's clinic. We didn't have a specialty. When I told them when I came for help back in '96, they told me I had adjustment disorder, but they didn't have any mental health specific things for women. So in the military, you're a family. It's like a unit, and your focus is on mission. So there's not even any individualism. They do have a system now that they put in place, and they do have a lot of training, sharp training about sexual assault and reporting and whatnot. But that's still, like, to me, just policing the issue. But the bottom line, you still have, recent article came out that in the cadets, they're having sexual assault issues has increased. So more people are talking, but still the retaliation, the fear, lack of promotion being put out. So you are being silenced and controlled in a sense. So your voice is not heard, and that's what I felt, as if they took my voice from me. They took something from me. I didn't know what it was. When I got home, I was so disconnected from my family. I was estranged. I was different. I didn't feel anything was safe. I had an issue with men. I felt like you were my leader. You're supposed to protect me. So when I'm telling you something, you're supposed to provide the support, and that was not available. So that continues to be an issue. So now that senators and were aware of the issue, they're still trying to fight for. They started a new committee, I think it was last year, to investigate it. But we still got people that are still serving, and you still have people out here that are still dealt with sexually assaulted for years. I've met people that I have a friend, she's in her 70s, and just now dealing with her sexual assault. You have people, men, I've done speaking engagements, and men that come up to me and whisper and tell me, yeah, that happened to me too, and it was horrible, and it was in Vietnam, and I've had one man tell me he was raped by 10 men, and they did nothing, and he hates men. And then coming to the VA, they do offer free military sexual trauma counseling. So no matter what your discharge is, people don't understand that just because you're a veteran doesn't mean you qualify for VA benefits. You have to have a certain discharge.
What?
So if you do not have an honorable discharge,
yes,
you do not qualify for VA benefits to apply for any of this aftercare.
So
you could be sitting out here, and I've known people too that have gotten out. One woman, she was raped 3 times, and she became a voice just like me when she got out here, just kind of talking about the issue. And they now have it to where you can fight your bad paper discharge, but you think in 20, 30, 40 years later, and you haven't had any treatment, no support. That's why the veteran suicide rate is 22 people a day. 22 veterans commit suicide every day. Every day. Every day. Every 65 minutes, a veterans commit suicide. And the women veteran suicide rate is 350% more than the civilian rate, meaning that we commit suicide 4 times more than our civilian counterparts. So we have a big epidemic, and nobody's really understanding it unless people like me that have struggled with it. I struggle with suicide and depression. I worked as a social worker for 15 years for the state of Michigan. I have a bachelor's in psychology, but I had to hide all my pain. I had to just work and keep going and be strong, be that superwoman, slay the dragon, and then come home depressed, isolated, frustrated. And then when I come and talk to someone, I had to watch what I say, because if I said something that was not correct, I'm getting written in my files at this and that. So I went through so much unnecessary stress and strain, and they wonder why we have the epidemic and the issues we have for veterans, and most people don't know about.
Right. You what?
It's trouble. You know, I'm really troubled by what I'm hearing because the general population just doesn't know about this, you know, at all. And so we can't even have input or sympathy or empathy with it because, you know, we have no attachment. And like you say, you try to bury and suppress these things because you're trying to strive for a balance in your life. And, you know, when I think about PTSD, most of us who, you know, just general population, we think of it in terms of the trauma and the drama of war, you know, hearing gunshots, you know, and maybe waking up in the middle of the night, nightmares, that kind of thing. We never even look at it in a sexual way at all. We have no idea of it.
Right. Yeah, it's a psychological, I call it invisible wound. You can't see it. So it's a violation of personal boundaries. And then it affects your self-esteem and your self-worth. If I'm just looked as a sex object, if I'm not looked at a viable partner in this team, if, you know, I'm a NCO, non-commissioned officer, and my voice is not being heard, I'm not being respected because I'm a woman and because I don't take your advances. So that's the majority of the issue is that problem right there in the system that is very difficult to fix because the military is not allowing the civilians, you know, into that system to settle that. We got this, you know, the issues that we're the commanders, we can handle this issue, but it's just, I'm still healing, it has not changed too much.
Have you looked into or researched out of the 535 Congress members, that's the House and the Senate, how many of them are military?
Yes, I don't know off the top of my head. It's a few that are serving. We lost some seats. We had at one point we had a lot more militaries and whatnot normally run for office, but yeah, we lost some seats. So
when I think about that, I don't want to cut you off, Theo. When I think about that, when we look at, you know, like let's just say the current president, but let's just go back and there's many others as well. Many people have moved into these political positions. They didn't serve in the military, nor did their family serve in the military, so they have no consciousness of what's going on at all, or no sympathy or empathy because they don't understand, you know, they did whatever they could to be deferred from military service. So for them to even have any compassion for what you all do, as opposed to when we look at Eisenhower and some of the other people who came up through the ranks and they end up becoming political people, John Glenn and others, you know, I think that detachment between what we have now in terms of political leadership and what we had then where people actually came through the military to become part of it is a big problem in itself.
Yes, I agree.
Wow. Do you have a office or a branch in Detroit or other cities?
Okay, yes. What I do my nonprofit for what, as you know, as a speaker, I speak out and I advocate. We provide free veteran advocacy services nationwide. So I get hit up through people all across the nation saying I'm dealing with homelessness. I was actually a homeless veteran because of this. That's what happened because I didn't get the intervention when I asked for it. I asked for help. There was nothing. They sent me away, so I struggled. I was angry at the VA. How dare you? I serve for my country and I'm coming to ask for help and you're brushing me away like I'm a problem. So I struggled on my own, and I worked for a social worker for the state of Michigan, and Dr. Kathleen Brazo, a black female psychiatrist, helped me right out of West Bloomfield. She became my personal psychiatrist, and she saw the level of the toll it was on me, the work I was doing. I was drained, I was disconnected, I was just like burnt out. She said, you got to come out this job. I said, I can't. I have to work. I have to take care of my family. And she worked me off on stress leave, and I never returned back to work, which actually caused me not to be able to take care of my financial obligations. So I became a homeless veteran. Right out of Ann Arbor, Auburn Hills, Michigan. I was a homeless veteran, and I got a HUD-VASH voucher, which they do now have the VA. If you're honorable discharge, you're part of the VA system. They have a homeless veteran program, and they'll give you a HUD-VASH voucher, which is like attached to an apartment, like a Section 8 voucher. Not everybody qualifies for that, though. So the thing is, with women veterans, most of us have children. Mostly all the homeless centers are single men, male veterans. Most of the facilities are. Most are not women veteran family oriented. We only have one. They have one house in Lansing, and it's a temporary living. Because when I kept asking, I kept reaching out, telling them I knew I was struggling. And I kept saying, what do you have for women? What's going on? You don't have, you know, you act like we just don't have children, we don't exist, you know. And then finally that part, when she took me off of stress leave and long-term disability benefits ran out, unemployment, I got back on the phone and I said, look, you got to do something here. You know, I'm struggling. I'm a veteran, and they found out, oh, we have a HUD-VASH voucher program now. So that was a saving grace. That's how I ended up out in Genesee County. And actually, I can say me hitting rock bottom like that allowed me to be able to get the mental health I needed, the medical I needed. I was neglecting myself because I was trying to keep a roof over my head. The emotional part, even as black people, we don't have to deal with depression. You know, we pray, we put oil on my forehead, Lord deliver us. But, you know, we don't go to counseling. We don't get that type of support because it's a negative stigma to it. When I was working for the state of Michigan, my supervisor told me, if you report anxiety and depression, all this kind of stuff, nobody's going to promote you. You're not going to promote it, you know, because it's considered, quote unquote, the negative stigma of mental health is like something's wrong with you. It doesn't mean you're not intelligent. You have a psychological disorder, I call it, that needs to have medical mental health, and you need the support. And I did not have that. I did not have that support base. That's why I started the nonprofit, and I just started doing events. I've been doing events since 2016. Our advisory board president is Judge Janice Langford Morris, Oakland County Circuit Court's only black woman. She's been with me. We do conferences, empowerment conferences. So I've done one downtown Detroit. I've done one at Michigan Veterans Foundation. Now we're on Southfield. So we finally, after 5-6 years, you know, finally got some support. It was very difficult when I came out here. I was speaking, telling about the issues. It was ignored because, like you said, most the average person don't have a connection with veterans. They thank you for your service on Veterans Day or things like that, but we have a lot of plethora of issues.
Wow. Well, we have to take a top of the hour break, and you all are tuned in to Feedback, a positive image production by Hood Research, and we will be back momentarily.
I've always been a runner, but I've never run from anything, and neither has my city.
Do you want to be a Detroit police officer?
Sir, yes, sir! Up! Amen!
It's something special to protect the people closest to you, the ones you've known all your life, your neighbors, your friends. I was born in this city, and I'm not going anywhere. This is my home. That's why I wear the shield.
Attention all families, kids, adults. It's live professional wrestling at the Bucadoza Recreation Center in Inkster, Michigan. Tickets as low as $5. Attention, tickets as low as $5. Kids get in as $5, adults $10. It's live professional wrestling at the Bucadoza Recreation Center, April 19th. That's a Sunday. I got my tickets. You get yours.
Hi, excuse me. Do you have anything for paint?
Straight down that aisle.
All right. Thank you.
Young lady, this here's what you need.
Ringmaster?
Ringmaster rubbing oil.
How does it work?
By promoting circulation since 1950. Massage it in for best results.
Ringmaster took care of my back pain.
Ringmaster got rid of my knee pain, too.
Wow, it sounds like I'm late to the party. I'll take one.
Find Ringmaster at CVS, Davis Drugs, and other fine stores.
Hi, this is Theo Broughton, and I want you to know that the Dabo Sheffield Center is the happiest, healthiest, and most supportive center in our community. But I also need you to know that the happiest day is the second Saturday of every month when Hood Research meets at the Dabo Sheffield Center, 12048 Grand River on the corner of Wyoming. Our meeting begins at 2 p.m. This center is where you meet all of the important people. Join us at 2 p.m. on the second Saturday. See you there.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am Thabiti Mpinga.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback,
a positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. Feedback.
I think Wayne County Community College District is the perfect place for any student.
We are all a big melting pot and sharing different experiences.
Everyone was like really friendly and they're like giving you their time. I know someone here will always be there to support me.
Armenalda Carrick, Bosnia.
Sandra Gonzalez, Mexico. Minhas Jakia, Bangladesh.
Dennis Carrick, Bosnia and Herzegovina.
107.3 FM, WVIE.
How would you like for this to be you? Well, it could be. If you have the desire to be an independent radio personality, paying yourself, this is your chance. WVIE 107.3 FM and WHPR 88.1 FM are looking for people with outgoing personalities who can attract sponsors. Launch your career on a radio station with the latest technology in broadcasting. WVIE 107.3 and WHPR 88.1. If you're into talk, R&B, oldies, jazz, gospel, or soca, Radio We Can See is where you need to be.
88.1 FM, WHPR.
Have your own radio show. Block time is available. Call 313-868-6612. Radio We Can See, broadcasting live in the Virgin Islands and Detroit. Find us on Comcast Channel 90 and worldwide on Fire Stick, Roku, Apple TV, and all of your favorite platforms. You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit. The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
Hello, we're back, and we thank you for joining us again. We ask you to have pen and paper handy for information you may want to record. Our guest is a Veterans Advocate, Sergeant Stephanie J. Shannon, who is an author as well, and we want to discuss your book as well. So maybe you can give us an overview of your book now.
My book, Battling the Storm Within. It hit Amazon bestseller. I'm really proud of this. I didn't think anybody wanted to hear my story. I wrote about living 20 years undiagnosed with PTSD caused by military sexual trauma and a Gulf War illness. So my book talks about my life before the military and what happened during the military and the struggle afterwards and how I overcame and where I'm at today.
Wow.
And I think most of you who have heard the conversation, we welcome those of you who may be new to the conversation. There's a lot of things that we as the public are not familiar with in terms of the struggles that it is to be in the armed services. We see the military presented to us in many different ways, and certainly they're all heroes in my opinion, but there's a lot of things that are in the shadows that many of us don't know about, and our guest is pretty much highlighting those things, and I think that it should be something, it's compelling to me, and I think that it should motivate many of us to be more supportive. So one thing I should ask is, how can we as individuals be supportive of, let's say, people in our general circle and then just the bigger picture?
I think the challenge I had was I didn't feel like my family understood me or tried to understand me. Mm-hmm. So I think if you know a veteran or have a veteran, just don't be judgmental. Don't assume. PTSD is not what I considered it's a negative tone to it. So for years, I didn't even admit I dealt with PTSD or depression, but I know some of my family members saw those symptoms. So I say, if you know a veteran yourself and your family or whatever, being kind to them, ask them how you can help them. Support the veteran events, like we do conferences every year. I do financial literacy events, various events. We're in Southfield now at Southfield Parks and Recs. We have a partnership with the City of Southfield Veterans Commission. So any veteran event, support it. Any veteran that you may see some things, you kind of talk to them and give them their privacy. So if they share something with you, do not repeat it. It's very important that you keep that sacred and ask them if you want your help. Because most of us in the military, we're told to pick ourselves up by our bootstraps and be strong. You're not supposed to show weakness. There's no military corps, meaning that when I was in, there was a unit that was hit by a Scud missile maybe 10 days after they got in town, and they killed, like 90 people were wounded. It was really bad. We didn't have anybody coming and saying, are you okay? You need some counseling, you need some therapy. You just keep moving. you don't deal with the trauma and things like that. So it's kind of like it's a movie. Like you keep moving in life and you just keep moving forward. So most of us have a problem with transitioning from that military position to the civilian world. So those that love and say they care for veterans is that level of respect, the level of support, the level of confidentiality, offering partnerships and doors open for us to share and need the support we need. So. It's quite a challenge.
Wow.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Your books are available where?
On Amazon. And also my website, battlingthestormwithin.com. My nonprofit website is empowermywomenveterans.com. So we also have some youth programs that we're doing too, because the thing is, we got women, we nurture, we carry the babies, but often we forget the children and the family members associated. We focus just on that veteran by themselves. So we're starting a new program called the Michigan Youth Marine Corps, and it's partnership with 158 Montfort Point Marines. In honor of the Tuskegee Airmen and in honor of the Buffalo Soldiers, all that have gone before us. Harriet Tubman was a woman veteran.
Harriet Tubman?
She was a spy.
That was right. She was a spy for
she's a bad sister.
Yes.
Yeah. So we got people that, led the path before us. So we want to impart in our youth leadership skills. And one thing about the military, it taught me how to be a leader. I had a difficult time adjusting with it out here, but we want to impart those into our youth too. So we're expanding our program and services to all veterans and including the youth.
So now, do you recommend our people going into the military?
I tell them this, you have to know it's your call. You have to know. I have family members. I have an uncle that was in a Korean War, Vietnam War. It's in my family. A lot of people say, I got a cousin or somebody that's in the military. So in the military population, we make up 10% of the Asian population. So we do most of the work. We're 10% of the nation population. So I tell them this. I tell them, you need to know that you're called into the military. I tell the young people, I ask them, why are you going into it? If you're going for college money, that's the wrong reason. If you're going for the commitment to serve your country, if you have a deeper purpose, I don't regret any thing. I wouldn't change it for the world. Back when I was it was a commercial, be all you can be, all that stuff. It wasn't many options in the 90s as far as they do have now. So I joined for that purpose, to travel the world, and things like that. So you have to know why, and you really got to realize that it's not just, I could die. That's not the worst thing that can happen. You can actually live in pain and not have the help and service when you come out and struggle and deal with deeper issues. So I tell them to really go talk to a veteran, go to the VA hospital. Go talk to one of those veterans rolling around with one arm and leg missing and see what they say. Go volunteer in your local community where veterans are. No, just hear the positive side. We got this great career, you're going to get this bonus and all this stuff. No, the reality is that you're going to live in a controlled environment. They're going to tell you what to do, how to do, when to do. And you're going to basically be a servant. And so that's what I tell them. So I do not bash it at all. We need the military. I think it's great. Everybody is not called to be in the military, but you got to know that you have, because I said what it does is either breaks you or make you.
Now, one of the things a friend of mine told his son was to bone up his skills because he was good at office work. I forgot where he worked, but anyway, he was matter of fact. It's a man who's the fastest typer in the country. But anyway, he had office skills, so that when he would go into the military, I guess you can tell them what your skills, or they test you and then put you in an area for that.
Yeah.
Or if you are a doctor, they would put you.
Well, what it is that, it's basically based upon their needs, okay? So you have areas you test ASVAB, you test and see where you scored. I scored very high. I was going to go into the Air Force. But what happened was you get choices. So they put you where they want to be. So you can say administration or food service or whatnot, wherever your skill set is, but there's no guarantee you'll get that job.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's no guarantee you'll be based where you choose to. So it's basically they're need-based. So you have to know. You have to be educated, because I wasn't aware that there was an actual career path where you can get your bachelor's and whatnot in the military. They tell you that. But if I was to do it differently, I would have my bachelor's, and then I would come in as an officer.
Right.
So coming in as an enlistment person, you know, you're at the bottom.
You're at their beck and call.
Yeah, you are.
So you go in with your degrees, and you are likely to fit into an area where they have the need.
I would say, more career satisfaction. You know, everybody joins for different reasons, you know, or whatnot, but you have to know that for yourself. You have to really do that research and know that, I tell them that, you know, that you could possibly be sexually assaulted. If somebody told me that, I would have walked out of that recruiter office. I would have, I would have been like, what? You know, I'm thinking, Uncle Sam, protect us.
Now, I had asked this question, but is it because the homosexuals are bullies or something, and they get into the administration?
Well, it's been a history of that. You got the don't ask, don't tell policy was in place, and then they got it to where, you know, you have the LGBT, and then Trump administration just, you know, changed it to where, you know, so it's been so many political things going on. You know, they're not. So it's anyone that is in LGBTQ community are more likely at attack in the military. There's a large population of them, and most of them live below the radar and not really open with it, but you experience a lot of ostracism. So I wouldn't say it's a homosexuality. I think to me, it's a culture, a male-dominant, toxic culture, hyper-male-dominant culture that has been historically, if we look at the history, even the integration of blacks into the military, it's the same like with women. You know, with just Montford Point Marines, that's 40? That's not that long ago. Where the Marines had their first.
That's President Franklin. Roosevelt, was it Franklin? Which was it?
Franklin, because Theodore would have been in early.
Yeah, it wasn't him. It was his cousin. Right. And they were complaining, the whites basically were complaining they didn't want ends next to them in the fight. So President Franklin established the Montford Point Marines in 1940.
Yeah, and then even you got the gray area, just like it was with segregation. It ain't been that long since, you know, that has been. We still got the red lining. We still got the gray areas.
Lord,
we still got the glass ceilings. You know, we just got America has a history.
That patriarchal.
Yes, it's just our history. So when you in there, and that's what I wrote about in my book. I had to be 5 times better. I had to excel everybody in the physical part, mental, emotional. I had to always be on. And that's the part about PTSD or that type of culture. You have to be on performance at one all the time. You never get a place of rest and fairness. So I found that I felt like I didn't have a lot of fair opportunities, you know, because I was a black female in the military, you know, and we have stereotypes. I talk about that, you know, the stereotypes you have, the assumptions they have about us. So every time you're interacting with somebody, you're dealing with that. It's a lot of stress, always having to handle people. You know.
And there was a young man who came by the house who was going in the military. As a friend of my daughter's, a classmate, actually. And he had this book, and the book was real thick. And he said that was the Bible, and he was going to memorize it. I don't know, it must have, to me, it seemed like it had 1,000 pages. But it was, according to him, it was the rules and regulations of the military. And he said he had to learn all of those to protect himself. You get a book when you go in, or
it's all types of training. You know, how can I say? It's not like college course where you very clear your basic training is going to consist of this and this week. I didn't even know. You know what I mean? I just knew what they told me. So day by day, what my drill sergeants, my leaders told me to do, I followed it. So you're not privy to that. You know, your chain of command is basically the officers, the commanders. They put it down on your leaders, and you implement. You carry out the mission. Period. You don't get a feedback. You don't have a debriefing. How'd you feel about that experience?
You know? They don't care how you feel about it. You do this.
I tell them that. I said the military wanted you to have a family. They would have issued you one. You know, if you wanted an opinion, they would have gave you one. You know, so you follow orders.
Yeah. What I really remember is that movie with Jack Webb, and he told him to kill a mosquito or something, and the soldier came up to him and is this the mosquito? He said, no, it was a female. And I'm like, oh, God. I can't remember the name of that movie, but it was horrible.
I wanted to remind our callers, and maybe our engineer can put the numbers at the bottom of the screen, that if you want to call in, the numbers here, all area code 313 or 868-0342, 868-0351, and 868-4336. Now, I wanted to ask you, Mrs. Shannon, you know, they say PTSD now, and I try to follow as much as I can. I believe, let's say maybe back during World War II, perhaps maybe in World War I, they call it being shell-shocked. Right. And then I believe during the Vietnam War, they call it battle fatigue. Yes. But it was all under the same thing as PTSD, where the trauma that you deal with. And when you were mentioning something about the Scud missile, one of the things that occurred to me, and I heard somebody mention this, is that, like, if you see the bodies, you know, who are victims of either they've maybe been dismembered or whatever, you have to just shut your brain down, forget about that, you know, because the average one of us, if we see an animal, you know, we'll have a certain reaction to that if it's been hit by a car or whatever it may be. But to actually see humans who have been maimed or died in it, you know, that's an incredible burden psychologically for anybody to carry. And they say we have to continue on with this mission, even though, you know, the human side of us is saying, you know, may even question all this, you know. So what you've done is admirable. And I like the title of the book also, Battling the Storm Within, because a lot of people, like you say, you put on this face, this facade or whatever, to be able to try to be strong. And I have to say this, I've always believed this. I think women a lot of times are more stronger than men. We have that image, the bravo, the macho, all this and that. But there's certain things I don't think that men could endure that women are able to bear, because you have so much, like you say, being a mother. There's so many things that you have to do that a man does not have to do, and you have to be able to try to be composed even in the face of all those things. So I think it's very admirable. And I would just encourage everyone to get the book, Battle the Storm Within by Miss Stephanie Shannon, because just this brief conversation I had is mind-blowing. That's a term that'll probably never go away, but it is, because the insight that you've given is something that we just, you know, we go about our daily lives. We got to hit a clock, we got to do this, do that, buy groceries, it's all over. We don't have to carry any extra burdens with us, and nothing on the magnitude of what you're describing.
Yeah, they call it survivor's gift. So say, for instance, I have friends that have been in war or combat, and like the one next to them, their buddy died and they didn't. So they feel guilty of, why am I still here? And then you have an issue they call moral injury. You're put in a position to do something you normally wouldn't want to. Even though I knew joining the military, the first thing I may have to kill somebody or get killed. But actually having to be in that position to do it and then do it, you're dealing with ethics issues, confusion. So that's the battle, is like the confliction of your own personal thoughts. But I joined the military. I swore and affirmed to serve my country, you know, and then you get in those positions, you're like, oh my goodness. And then after the fact, there's no support base, because when you're in the military, it's a camaraderie, it's a unit. But when you do get out, however you get out, if it's retired, if it's discharged or whatever, you're coming back to this world with no family, no support, and you're not the same person. War changes you. I say once military, always military. I don't look at anything the same, because even in Desert Storm, we had those children with the bombs on them. You know, they had to be, instead of, you know, you think a child, oh, that's innocent. You had to check and see, how do I know if he don't have a bomb on him? You know what I mean? And then, you know, constantly checking under your car. You know, certain things they put in you and they program you, you're always on. So that's a difficult thing, like you said, too, being in the military. And most of us don't talk about it. I didn't talk about it. I didn't talk about my experience. when I did, people thought I was strange or weird. Why would you join anyway? You know, so you're not being embraced in that area. So it can be a very lonely and isolating life. So the support groups, we have support groups for veterans. There's a lot of movement happening now, more or less, in Michigan. Michigan was rated as 48 of the worst state as far as helping veterans, so we're the least patriotic state in the nation. So that's another thing that challenged, too, is that there's not a turnkey place, but they have some things in place. The VA has, I can say, has changed or because of our voices, but still, that's a medical center. But what about all the other facets of life? You know.
Another thing that occurs to me too, when we speak about PTSD and like you're speaking about homelessness, we know a lot of vets are homeless people. But also, I've got a couple of friends who were in the Vietnam War, and they came back and had substance abuse problems, and they've kind of basically gotten out of it. But there was a long period of time that, in order to, I guess, balance all of the night sweats and the things that they were going through, the only way that they could alleviate any of that or maybe sedate themselves was to take drugs. And I know in Vietnam in particular, where opium and heroin was rampant and so easily available, when they came back, crack became one of the things that they also gravitated towards as well. I mean, we have problems on the job. Let's say, for instance, we might have a drink or something like that. That's our escape from a foreman or a supervisor, whomever, that's putting pressure on us. We can't fight back because this is our job. So when I see, when I hear about homelessness with vets and the drug abuse, and then when you mention 22 military veterans a day are killing themselves, the general population has no idea about that at all. That's
right. And they say 75% of the homeless in Detroit are veterans.
Yes,
and
it
that's
is.
what we're reporting.
I admire the Vietnam veterans. They had it the worst. They were spit on. They were not respected. Like you said, they had the access to the opiates. They knew that. So when they got back, most of them do have addiction problems. They just now, quote unquote, passed the Agent Orange Act.
Wow.
After 40-something years. So most of them are not here, or they're dealing with cancer, serious, debilitating conditions. Now they can qualify to apply for the benefits, which it took I didn't get any benefits. I applied in 96. I was denied all up to 2013.
Wow.
So just imagine those. You have people with Purple Hearts, people with physically arms removed, and still you have to prove your claim. It's unbelievable, the red tape that you have to go through, the stress you have to go through. Just imagine you're in pain, chronic pain, dealing with addiction, dealing with guilt, dealing with shame, dealing with all kinds of I call emotional disturbances that you have to deal with yourself. And it depends, and you're at the mercy of whoever you come home to, if you got family. And then when you come to the VA and you're they told me I presented too well. I couldn't have PTSD. So I said, if I stand on this table and say I'm going to kill everybody in this room, then you're going to call police and lock me up. Then you believe me. So I got to act crazy, or disturbed, for you to believe me. So we have a lot of issues, and I can say that it has been more, they're moving more, they're listening to us more. I can't say it's quick enough, but the suicide rate, the homelessness rate, it's just our problems are magnet.
Now, the people working at Veterans Hospital have not been in the military themselves, right?
Not all. You have some that are veterans, and I think
I
find most of them, I've had some situations where I feel like I have to remind them while you're there. You have a job because I'm a veteran and I'm in need of help. But most of them are detached from the struggle.
They've never been, they don't get it.
Yes.
But I have a cousin who had talked about the PTSD, and he was saying that because somebody he was in the military with had been killed right next to him, and he said, you are glad that it's not you, but you feel guilty because you're glad it's not you.
Yes. You have a conflict. And so say, for instance, when I did come out and I started my therapy, I came home as a veteran, I went to therapy groups, and it was the worst because everybody had issues. So it's kind of like we sitting around, about 10 or 12 of us in an hour, and you got a therapist trying to control the whole group, and this one going talking about how bad their night was, and this one I had a young man, he was 25 years old. He said, I was squared away, I was a badass soldier, I was excellent, I came out here and I had all these problems. He actually shot himself in the head. He lived. He lived, and he has a bullet lodged in his head. He had 3 surgeries, 3 places in his life, and he talks about how he hates his life because he was a dysfunctional soldier. Now I'm in the wheelchair. Now I'm waiting on somebody else, and I understand that too, because that's the problem I had too, is that I didn't need any medication, no therapy before the military. I couldn't get in if I had those issues. Now I'm out here. Now I'm in pain. I need to go to acupuncture. Oh, my back hurt. You know, things like that. That we struggle with is that aftercare, if it's there at all. Most veterans do not go to the VA. A lot of them do not go. Wow. No, a lot of them don't go. I left the VA system a few times. I've been to every VA hospital, clinic, you name it, in the state, because I believe in quality service. I will write the director, patient advocate, you're going to know how I feel. But everybody doesn't have that ability to communicate that way for themselves. So that's the struggle we have, is we try to, at least if a brother or sister veteran is struggling, you know, if you want help, I'm here to at least talk for you or advocate for you or be your voice. So that's what we need. We need more people.
I'm so glad that you have this opportunity for others to participate with you. But I have to stop and make a correction. When the president established the Montford Point Marines, it was not Roosevelt Franklin. He's from Sesame Street. It was President Franklin Roosevelt. Just want to make that correction. Because I know when I said that, I said, why does that sound familiar? And it just kept rattling around in my mind. I'm like, oh, I got to make this correction. But anyway, now for the children, you said you had some programs for the children?
Yeah, we have a couple programs. We have one program called Dirt Therapy. It's an agricultural program, and it helps with the mental health aspect. That helped me heal because actually there's antidepressants in the soil. So we have Arden, Flint, we have a farmhouse, a garden, and we started that in 2017.
Okay.
And then we're trying to incorporate the youth aspect of it, the agricultural, kidpreneur business side of it, and the leadership part of the youth. So we definitely want to expose.
What age?
Ages 8 through 12.
8 to 12, okay, through 12, okay. Go ahead. Oh, my goodness. A minute and a half left. Oh, wow. Well, we certainly want you to come back and be with us, and we want to help you get the information out. And I want you to attend the next Hood Research meeting so that we can share and help others to help you spread the word. A minute and a half, geez. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I always say at the end of this show, it is not necessary for you to know everything. What is necessary is for you to know how to find what you need when you need it. We at Hood Research seek out as much information as we can to help us all make better informed decisions. The telephone number for Hood Research is area code 248-234-2371. Again, that's area code 248-234-2371. We have a website, hoodresearch.org, O-R-G, hoodresearch.org. And we ask you to follow us on Twitter and Facebook and to log on to Hood Research and share your information as well. The BD.
First, I just want to ask Sister Shannon to again give everybody the name of your book and how they can get it and contact you.
Okay. My book is Battling the Storm Within. You can get it off Amazon or my website, battlingthestormwithin.com. And you can also go to Empower MI Women Veterans website to see the events we're doing for veterans. So Empower MI Women Veterans, Michigan Women Veterans Empowerment.
And as I always say, if you want to be nothing, do nothing. But the only problem with doing nothing is you never know when you're finished. And answer the census.
Oh, yes. That's very important to participate with the census.
Yes.
And in the meantime, tune in again next week at 9 a.m. right here.
Peace.
Feedback. Hi, this is Theo Broughton.
And I am the BD Mpinda.
Inviting you to join us each Monday at 9 a.m. for Feedback.
A positive image production by Hood Research.
Encourage others to tune in each Monday on
Comcast Detroit, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, watch WHPR TV Network anywhere.
And take us along with you. Feedback.
This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman. I am here to address all of your complaints and concerns. If you need assistance regarding city services, please contact my office at 313-224-6000 or contact us via email at ombudsman@detroitmi.gov. This is Bruce Simpson, your City of Detroit Ombudsman.
How you see the world is everything.
Oh my God, girl, you take all day.
Oh, hi.
How you doing, Luna?
The people you trust.
Hey, how are you? Stay safe. Go.
Your community.
You rolling with the pain today.
I'm gonna show you how it's done, Pain. In the best and the worst times.
Walk away from me!
Ma'am, stop! Hola, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien. I see myself
Gracias.
in the people I serve.
Hi.
Officer Luna, Officer Luna. Sweet. Girl, you know you can do my job, right?